CBD is non-intoxicating. It's psychoactive mildly. It does affect mental processes, but non-intoxicating, and it gives the benefits of cannabis without the impairment associated with it or the plethora of negative side effects that many people experience when they're ingesting THC or the combination of all cannabinoids.
Hello, and welcome to the Art of Living Well podcast. I'm Stephanie May Potter, and I'm here with my co-host, Marnie Dotches-Marmette.
We created the Art of Living Well podcast to empower you to live your happiest, healthiest, and most authentic life. Each week, we will bring you inspiring and motivating conversations covering health and wellness topics, including fitness, mindset, food, travel, product reviews, and strategies from a variety of experts, including our own bank of knowledge.
We are excited to educate, motivate, and inspire you to change the way you perceive health and discover your art of living well. Get ready to feel inspired.
Hello, and welcome to episode 82 of the Art of Living Well podcast. Before we dive into today's episode, we have a couple of announcements for you. First off, we're so excited for our upcoming live in-person yoga and wine tasting event this summer. We are co-hosting it with Ashley Sondegard, who hosts the Yoga Magic podcast, and it's taking place in Plymouth on July 22nd, and the sign-up link is in our show notes. Ashley was a guest on our podcast several months ago, and we were also on her podcast as well, and we're super excited for this collaboration. It's the Backyard Yoga Bash and wine tasting, and we're going to have giveaways, and Ashley's going to lead us in a cosmically inspired yoga flow. The outdoor class will start with a brief overview of the astrological happenings in the sky, and then we'll harness that astro energy into an invigorating yoga class. We'll finish with a brief meditation where we'll find gratitude together, and we'll taste some fun, clean crafted wine. We'll do some giveaways. We'll gather in person as a community, and all yoga levels are welcome. We're super, super excited, and we hope that you will join us. I also want to do a quick shout out to all our listeners that have gone on to Apple Podcasts and given us a positive rating and review. We really appreciate it so much. Thanks for sharing your love. Please continue to do so. It only helps us spread our message to the world. And with that, we are thrilled to welcome Minnesota Nice Botanicals co-founder Christian Rasmussen. After working in real estate for a number of years, Christian and his partner Tad in 2019 decided to found Minnesota Nice Botanicals to provide affordable, high-quality CBD products to everyone. They decided to found the company because they felt like CBD was too expensive. So in 2019, they decided to do something about that. And after a year of diligent research on CBD and its market, they discovered a large price difference between wholesale and resale CBD prices. They felt like people were being unreasonably charged high prices, and they felt like it was hard for consumers to find CBD as affordable to use regularly. So, in an effort to make CBD products more affordable and available to more people, they decided to come up with their company, and they really believe in the Minnesota Nice philosophy, and they want to offer the highest quality product they can at the absolute lowest prices. In our conversation with Christian today, we talk about all things CBD. We learn about CBD. We learn how to know if you're taking a high quality CBD, how much to take. They are making all their small batches of CBD right here in Minnesota. They are very transparent about how they make their products, what's in their products, and also they are independently tested, so you know you're getting a high quality product. This conversation was so enlightening. I know both Stephanie and I have found the topic of CBD to be very confusing, and Christian answered so many of our questions, and we're really excited to share all of this information with you today. Before we dive into this inspiring conversation with Christian, let's hear a quick word from one of our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by our wonderful sponsor, Appetite for Change. Appetite for Change is a nonprofit in North Minneapolis that uses food as a tool for health, wealth, and social change. This year, in light of COVID and the unrest in Minneapolis, Appetite for Change has continued to ground themselves in their mission and center their work around community, connection, and nourishing food.
They launched a pilot program called Community Cooks Meal Boxes, which provides fresh produce and pantry items, plus 2 recipes for over 300 families at no cost to the family. The program has been such a success that it has been extended for another 6 weeks and will continue into 2021. AFC has utilized the kitchens of their 2 restaurants, Breaking Bread Cafe and Station 81, to produce over 200,000 meals that have been distributed across the Twin Cities to healthcare workers, seniors, and families in need.
In addition, they have 7 farm plots across North Minneapolis that are tended to by community members and Appetite for Change youth learning how to grow a variety of plants. These fresh fruits and vegetables are distributed throughout the North Side. Even in 2021, Appetite for Change is committed to building a more equitable food system by delivering fresh and nourishing food to healthcare workers, seniors, and families in need, tending urban gardens, and more.
We have been collaborating with Appetite for Change over this past year, and we have loved their dedication to their mission, and we so look forward to volunteering with their organization and working with them more in 2021. To learn more about Appetite for Change, listen to episode 31 of our podcast with one of their founders, Michelle Horowitz.
For more information or to donate, head on over to appetiteforchangemn.org/impact or on Instagram and Facebook at Appetite for Change. Hi, Christian. Thank you so much for being a guest on the Art of Living Well podcast today. You reached out to us a few months ago, and it was really perfect timing. We had been discussing how confusing CBD products are and that we would love to have someone knowledgeable on our show. And here you are today, and you were kind enough to send us a bunch of samples to try. And I have to tell you that I love the CBD salve. I'm in this routine of rubbing it into my feet every night before bed. And not only are my feet super soft, but it really feels wonderful on my feet all day long. So thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, everyone has a story, and we really love to hear your journey and how you got involved in the CBD industry.
Yeah, totally. So it's a long, involved story. I think starting way back, I've been in business since I was in my 20s, early 20s. I started in real estate, flipping houses and amassing rental properties in my early 20s. I got married in 2018 and decided to kind of step out of real estate a little bit and went and explored the world. And then in 2019, one of my best friends from high school came to me with the idea of starting a CBD business, because CBD, we've all heard of CBD. We all know of the benefits, or at least the people in my circle that were using CBD heavily. It was extremely beneficial, but it was extremely expensive as well. So we got together with the hopes of knocking down the price in order to get a CBD to a wider audience, so that more people would be able to experience its benefits. Yeah, so we started in 2019. I was actually going through a really hard personal time, which I think we discussed a little bit prior to this. I was going through benzodiazepine withdrawal, which is just the absolute worst thing in the world that I've ever had to go through. And so we started this business up while I was going through just this horrible experience and reinventing myself as a human being. And CBD happened to just be, one of the cornerstones of my recovery and my redefining myself, kind of pulling myself out of this self-hypnosis that comes from, getting stuck in a rut, maybe. Yeah.
Can you take a step back and tell our listeners what is CBD? Because they may not all know.
Yeah, totally. So we're all familiar with cannabis and marijuana. So marijuana has hundreds of cannabinoids in it. The two main cannabinoids are THC, tetrahydrocannabinol, and CBD. THC is the intoxicating component in marijuana, or one of a few, and it's what gets users high, impaired. CBD is non-intoxicating. It's psychoactive mildly. It does affect mental processes, but non-intoxicating, and it gives the benefits of cannabis without the impairment associated with it, or the plethora of negative side effects that many people experience when they're ingesting THC or the combination of all cannabinoids. So CBD, it affects. This is a relatively recent discovery. I think in the early 2000s, the endocannabinoid system started to hit the spotlight, which is an innate biological system that affects functions such as sleep and appetite. It's a bridge between other systems in your body, cardiovascular, immune system, all the other systems, and it helps to maintain internal homeostasis, meaning it helps balance things out. So if you have one system that's overactive, and the endocannabinoid system helps regulate that to make sure that your body is functioning properly. CBD influences the endocannabinoid system, and in turn, many people find that it gives great benefits.
That's awesome. That's such a great start and a great overview. And thank you, Christian, for just sharing your personal story. And we have so many questions kind of diving into different aspects. But how do you think, were you using CBD as part of this withdrawal? And as you went through this whole process, I'd love to just even dive into how you think it helped you.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. So, benzodiazepine withdrawal is probably one of the worst things anybody can go through. Extreme anxiety, paranoia, fear, terror. CBD, it's not like it eliminated those symptoms for me by any means, but it really did augment my recovery. I kind of look at it as I was kind of pushed back into being a child again. My brain functions, I had damaged essentially my body, and I needed to get out of this rut, this system that I had found myself in. I call it dehypnotizing myself, and CBD. It helped give my thoughts weight, I suppose. It helped me gather my thoughts and focus them in the direction that I needed to heal my body, my systems, myself. And it really did help a lot. There's many things that also helped. I'm an avid meditator. I exercise. I take saunas daily. I read a lot. I do everything I had been doing everything that I needed to do, but CBD really gave me that extra push to make things work, and it also helped me not be so unbelievably stressed. I had no idea that the human body could go through the amount of stress that I went through in that time period. So CBD, it really did help. And then the other thing that really helped me too was building up a business throughout this process, where I was just terrified and hurting constantly, and forcing myself to step outside of the box that I had found myself in. And CBD, it gave me confidence, I suppose. And
so, is CBD legal, and why is there so much confusion around it, and it gets a really bad rap? And what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, totally. CBD is legal. It's not federally regulated. So it's kind of a gray area in that sense, and that segues into why it's probably gotten a lot of bad rap. I think reefer madness, anti-marijuana push, I'm sure extends into today, and I think people associate CBD with marijuana and cannabis and don't really. The education isn't quite out there as of now for people to understand what CBD actually does without that impairment. I think that it gets a bad rap. I think that there's not a lot of data, there's not a lot of education, and then it's a gray it's a gray market. So we have studies that state that 70% of CBD products have been mislabeled, things like that. And I think it's also, since it's such a new, fresh industry, there's a lot of greed, and this is kind of the reason that we started this business, is because CBD manufacturers, growers are making far too much money, and that hinders the growth of the market, and it hinders consumers' ability to tap into this new, well, not new, but new in our eyes, this new wonderful medicine that's available, not only available, but has been alongside humans for thousands and thousands of years. CBD kind of, I have this hope that CBD will help humanity segue back into our roots. Not that there's anything wrong with our current medical establishment, although maybe I have a different opinion about that. But I think that we could all benefit from getting in touch and in tune with ourselves and with nature again. I believe very strongly that CBD is going to help us, and is actively helping us reconnect with those roots. I think that it probably also gets a bad rap because certain medical establishments don't want us to reconnect with our roots. It takes away from their profits.
Okay, I love everything that you just said, and I've never heard it explained in that way, about just your hope and vision that it'll help humanity get back to their roots, to our roots, because that's something that I think is woven into a lot of the conversations we have on this podcast. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't agree more. And I know we could go down a rabbit hole with, healthcare and pharmaceuticals, and we won't go there right now. Yep. But just for some people, I know, some listeners out there, there's many different types of products that you can use. And so I'm wondering, just even basic, like you got the oils and the balm that Marty mentioned. I've taken some CBD gummies before. So like, what's the difference between all the forms that you can take? And then there's like full spectrum and broad spectrum, but just like all kind of going through some of that, like do you have to take it every day for the rest of your life, or how does it work, to really receive benefits?
Yeah, that's totally subjective. Many people want to take it consistently. If it builds up in your system, same with many drugs that we take. If it builds up in our system, it's going to have a more lasting effect. It's going to have a more powerful effect. So many people do take it every day, although it's not necessary. It's not like Prozac, where you need to take it, for a couple weeks and let it build into your system, or like SSRIs, or a lot of the chemicals that we ingest. As far as very subjective, very up to the individual. And I think that without the regulatory clarity framework as well, there's no like dosing guidelines. I don't think that there can be dosing guidelines for substances like this, because it is so subjective, and everybody has very specific, individually defined reactions. Now, for different products, we have CB1 and CB2 receptors, which I mentioned are endogenous cannabinoid system. We have these receptors throughout our entire body, from our brains to our gut to our skin, and they're actually the most plentiful receptors in the whole body. So no other receptor is denser than our endocannabinoid receptors, and that's a testament to the fact that it bridges all of our biological systems, right? So we need these receptors plentiful throughout our body so that our endocannabinoid system can do its job properly. So we have things like topicals, where you rub CBD or other cannabinoids into your skin via a salve or a lotion. And like I mentioned, you have cannabinoid receptors throughout your skin. When you rub it on your skin, it doesn't get into your bloodstream, but it does get into the affected area. So if I have knee pain, for instance, I might rub some topical cream on there. It won't affect my anxiety. It won't affect my mental processes, but it might aid in some inflammation help on my knee, which can prove a relief of pain, which is really helpful for a lot of people.
So can I interrupt you for 1 second? I have a question about that, because I was under the impression that when you put products on your skin, they do get into your bloodstream pretty quickly.
Very minor amount, such a minor amount that it's not gonna, at least from my understanding, it's such a minor amount that it's not gonna affect your your mental processes. Yeah.
Okay.
So when you do like a transdermal patch, for instance, that's designed to get into your bloodstream, or if you're rubbing it into your skin, I think it gets into the receptors in your skin before getting into the bloodstream. Yeah, I could be a little wrong there, but yeah, that's at least how I understand it. I believe the bioavailability through your skin is extremely small. So
Okay.
yeah, I think that's the best that I can answer that right now. And again, I don't know if I don't think that there's that much data on this stuff right now. So I'm learning as I go, and I think that's important for listeners to understand is we're still kind of figuring this stuff out as we go. But I do know that if I rub salve on my knee, it's not going to help my anxiety, for instance.
Okay, so there's different, based on your symptoms or what you're trying to address, there's different products that are catered towards it.
Yeah,
okay.
Totally. So then we have tinctures where it's mixed in with oil or alcohol. We don't do alcohol tinctures. I rarely see alcohol tinctures on the market for CBD, but that is something that maybe if somebody's making it at home, they might mix it in with alcohol. But yeah, and the tinctures, they many I'm not allowed to make claims, but I can say that for me personally, the tinctures do really it helps my overactive thoughts. It helps my stress levels, and then many of our customers also say the same. It helps them tremendously, and it also doesn't work for everybody. It doesn't help everybody, but many people it does. And that's, again, we probably could use more data on this stuff. And then you have gummies and edibles. There are concentrates or vapables where people like to, we have customers that state that, they get anxiety attacks and you can't, I mean, if you're ingesting a tincture, you can put it under your tongue, which allows for sublingual absorption, which helps it kick in quicker, but it's still not instantaneous. So many people like to vaporize, or they'll put CBD liquid in their e-cigarettes or something similar, and they'll take a puff when they're feeling overstressed or over anxious. So that's another way. We actually don't sell any vapable products, although our tinctures could be mixed in e-cigarettes, for instance. But yeah, so that's kind of as of now, that's kind of the array of CBD products that are out there on the market. And then you mentioned full spectrum, broad spectrum CBD isolate. So those are the three main different types of CBD. Full spectrum is your full plant extract. So you're getting all of the cannabinoids, and usually they're extracted from hemp plants, which are very, very high in CBD content and very low in THC content. That's we're working with hemp plants mainly, and hemp is federally designated as a cannabis plant with less than 0.3% THC content, which is, it's kind of interesting how the government labels hemp versus cannabis, but that's just how it is. It's the same family of plants still, but just a different cannabinoid content. So full spectrum is the full plants extract, and it includes terpenes and flavonoids. And this is another aspect of plant medicine that we don't see at all in our Western single bullet to cure a disorder or disease. The flavonoids and the terpenes in cannabis, at least, it brings what they call the entourage effect, where all of these different components are working on your endogenous cannabinoid system, and they're working together synergistically to compound the effects or compound the benefits. So full spectrum contains terpenes, flavonoids, and all of the cannabinoids that have been stripped from the plant, which encourage the entourage effect, which allows them to work together to gain more benefit or have a little bit more traction to easily bridge more of these biological systems. Then we have broad spectrum. Many people don't like THC. They don't want any THC. Some people find that if they're ingesting even a little bit of full spectrum CBD oil, if they have no tolerance whatsoever and they're very sensitive, they might find that it makes them feel a little weird, or it maybe makes them tired, or THC can cause people to have overactive thoughts, where CBD does the opposite. So maybe it just doesn't give them what they want. Some people don't want to ingest THC at all. They just have a stigma, or they, maybe past experiences, they just don't want that at all. So that's where you get broad spectrum. Broad spectrum is the same thing as full spectrum. All of the phytocannabinoids, all of the flavonoids, all of the terpenes, but it goes through another process called chromatography, which allows them to isolate an individual compound and pull it out. So broad spectrum, and then you have CBD isolate, which is just pure CBD, just the CBD molecule. And many people, again, it kind of goes back to the everybody's very different. Some people would really prefer to get that entourage effect and to get all of the other cannabinoids and terpenes and flavonoids, or some people really prefer just to have the CBD itself. And it's very subjective, and everybody's going to be different there. That's probably what makes it difficult to get regulation and dosing guidelines on stuff like this. But I always recommend personally, and what I did myself was when I was first getting into this really heavily to help me with what I was going through, I used CBD isolate first, and then I moved to broad spectrum, to full spectrum. And now I use full spectrum, but I have friends that don't like full spectrum. They would much rather use isolate. So it's very subjective, and it definitely takes trial and error, and it takes and that I kind of like that too. I think that there's this beauty to getting in tune with what you're ingesting. Like any food, or like it kind of gets back to the idea of like thanking your food, or like or growing your own food. It's like you're going to have an energetic connection with it that's that can be scientifically proven in a sense as well. And I think that is probably true for CBD, and it's kind of nice to be able to test and find out what works best for you. And I think we're going to find what works a lot better for us if we're able to do that testing personally, than rather to have a doctor tell us like, do this is what's going to work.
Yeah.
And that kind of also segues back into this idea that we're getting in tune with ourselves and with the world again.
So just to clarify, just so I'm understanding this right, all the CBDs that you talked about, CBD isolate, full spectrum CBD, and broad spectrum CBD are all currently legal. So
Yeah.
the amount of THC in the full spectrum CBD is small enough that it's legal, or
Correct.
that's what, okay.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's one thing I wanted to clarify. And then the second thing I wanted to clarify is I'm not a big proponent of vaping personally.
Yeah.
Or e-cigarettes or any of that. And
I'm not either.
Let's now moving forward, focus on the products that you're actually offering. Cause I think, I would love for you to share with our listeners how you're vetting your products so they are high quality and going through a testing process and all of that.
Yeah, totally. So we purchase all of our CBD from very, very top-notch individuals, which we're very, that's very important. I want the people that are growing our CBD to be like-minded to me. I don't want them, everybody's in business lots of people are in business to help people, but most people are in business, for themselves as well. So it's important. It was very important for me in finding a CBD distributor, a grower, to find people that were like-minded to us. So we very much vetted out our growers, and all of our CBD is tested prior to purchasing. So it goes through pesticides, heavy metals, residual solvents, cannabinoid content, all of that jazz before we even purchase it. And then all of our products are actually manufactured by ourselves in-house, which A, allows us to keep costs down, and B, allows us to know exactly what's going into those products. And it kind of takes out another, I'm a trusting person, but I would rather do this type of thing myself if I can, just because I'm absolutely sure that it's being made properly. And there's also a component of making products with care and attention and love. It's an energy thing for me, and I feel like that's extremely important, and that would be gone if we outsourced our manufacturing. So all of our products are manufactured in-house. They're all very simple, basic ingredients, no chemicals, no fillers, stuff like that, and just pure tested, vetted CBD. And then all of our products also go through testing from a local facility here in the Twin Cities that tests cannabinoid content and so on and so forth. Then we put, and this is another thing I think I mentioned before, that 70% studies have shown that 70% of CBD products are actually mislabeled. There's different cannabinoid contents in them, or something or other. So one thing that we do that really helps us stand out from the crowd right now is we put a QR code on every one of our products that takes you to our testing page on our website if you scan it with your phone. And it shows you exactly what's in that product. So we think that's one of the more important things that, and as regulations come, I would imagine we'll see more and more companies doing that kind of thing, but we don't want regulations to have to tell us to show our customers what's in their product. Yeah.
Well, I love the transparency that you're providing, because I think that's so important. Marnie and I talk a lot about just clean beauty products, and there's a lot of CBD showing up in beauty products, but how do you know? I mean, sometimes I think it's just marketing, and there could be a very small percentage of CBD, but you're paying, a huge markup because of the label too. So
yeah. Yep.
And now we will take a quick break from this episode to hear a word from our sponsor. Have you been thinking about a new home build, remodel, or even rework of a smaller space in your home? We have all spent more time in our homes over the past year, and many people are trying to recreate spaces in their homes to bring more joy and functionality to fit their lifestyles. It can be really hard to know where to turn, but Sarah and Marcy, co-founders of Chisel Architecture, are the experts that will help you gain clarity and confidence around your project.
One of the unique aspects of Chisel Architecture that sets them apart from others is their trademark design approach called Pattern of Life. This approach is a game changer for homeowners and how they experience the design process. Marcy and Sarah really listen to you to fully understand your needs and advocate for you during both the design and implementation process. When you think about your home environment and how it supports you, Chisel Architecture believes your overall well-being should be in the mix.
Sarah and Marcy want you to live well in your home. Because they are so passionate on their design approach, they have a special offer for our listeners. Book a 2-hour consultation and receive $50 off.
Simply email them at hello@chiselarc.com. That's at HELLO@CHISELARCH.com and mention the Art of Living Well podcast to receive your $50 off. Consultations must be booked by June 30th to take advantage of this offer. I love the values that you have instilled in your business and your products. And so I was just looking back on your website. So you sell the CBD isolate, in the tincture I saw, and you have some broad spectrum as well, some full spectrum, but not broad spectrum. Is that correct? Or
yeah, so we're actually working. We're so fresh. It's just my business partner and I. We've only been selling for about 6 months. And since it's just the two of us, we have a very limited product line as of now. We're actually coming out with a whole new line of products in the next few months here, where we're having a bunch of new isolate flavors, and we'll be doing different salve sizes. And then we're looking at gummies, and broad spectrum is basically next on our list after all that. So we're kind of we're biting it as we go, and we're taking the steps that we're able to take. I think as we grow now. We're able to start, we're hiring on marketing teams, and we're hiring on people that will help outsource our work so that we can focus on building better products and doing, things like this, which really help not just us in our business, but helps consumers in the world understand what they're getting into, and so that they can make a better, more informed decision.
Yeah, I think it's great what you're doing, because you're just, and I love the local vibe and the local feel to it, obviously, being in Minnesota. What's your favorite CBD product, and why? Why do you like using it?
I use the salve all the time, daily. I mean, I use the tincture daily too, but so I have back issues. I was in karate when I was a kid. I got kicked really hard in the chest, and I flew back like 3 or 4 feet and landed right on my back. And I've had bad back issues in my lumbar area ever since then. So every now and then when I was flipping houses, for instance, I like every few weeks I would need to take a few days off because my back would be blown out entirely. And there are periods of time where if it's blown out, it can be, and I'm only 31 too, so I'm young for all this, but it would be blown out for a week at a time. And that's painful, that can be extremely limiting. With CBD salve, for me personally, if I blow out my back, it's 1 to 2 days if I'm applying that salve consistently. 1 to 2 days and I have full functionality back. I might be a little sore still, but it seriously has helped me out tremendously. So I use that also preventatively, where my wife and I will give each other massages with it, for instance. And, the anti-inflammatory effects, inflammation is the silent killer, or one of the two silent killers, inflammation and stress, which CBD affects both. But yeah, so I think using the salve preventatively for me has helped save my back that issue, that being blown out time and time again. I also use the tincture religiously, and I've slowed down a lot since I've healed. My body is considerably better than it was a couple of years ago, but yeah, I really enjoy the tincture. It helps. My brain goes really fast, and which is a great thing, and I don't complain at all about that. I love it, but there are times where there's little segues or tangents that it goes on, and it's just non-conducive for what I'm trying to do. CBD helps me not go down those paths, right? It helps me stay focused. I don't know if I hear many people talk about CBD for ADD or ADHD, but man, it seriously helps me stay focused. But that's me personally, and everybody has their own experience.
So I have a question about that. So if someone wanted to experiment with a tincture, how do you know how much to take?
Yeah, yep. So in the industry, we always say start low and start slow and work your way up. That's kind of the standard way to go. It's very subjective. So our lowest tinctures is 750 milligrams per ounce, which comes to 25 milligrams per milliliter. So per dropper, you're getting about 25 milligrams. We've actually found on the market there's a lot lower doses out there for people where they're actually getting maybe 5 milligrams at a time. Personally, I think that's a little too low. I don't think that from what we've found, people don't get the benefit from that as much as they would at 15, 25 milligrams. So we always say start low, start slow, work your way up. I would personally start, if I was new to it, I would start with a half of a dropper of that 750, that 25 milligrams per milliliter, so 12.5 milligrams. And I would try that a few times a day. And then maybe after a day or two, if I'm not noticing anything, I'd up it to a full dropper. And you can continue upping it. So the WHO came out in 2017, and they had a study that said that CBD was likely safe, well tolerated in individuals up to 1,500 milligrams a day. So 1.5 grams in a day is likely safe and tolerable. And that was the highest end of their spectrum that they tested to. So I would imagine that could be even upped if we tested the numbers there too. But yeah, I would say start low and start slow. Start with 12.5 to 25 milligrams, 1 to 3 times a day, or whenever you feel it's needed, and then work your way up from there. Personally, I was taking at my worst, at my best, or when I was going through the most troubles, I was needing 300 to 600 milligrams 2 to 3 times a day, which is a substantial amount for that are looking for anxiety relief or things like that. But then if you get people with epilepsy, for instance, like it has been recommended that to like stop seizures, doses of 300 milligrams or up. So yeah, it's very subjective. Starting slow is the best way, and you can always take more, but you can't always take less. So
I've had CBD before, like a couple years ago, and I would dabble in it very intermittently, or sometimes I would take it at night before I went to bed. And I've talked to a lot of people, and I can tend to get my mind is racing. I have a lot going on, and I get a little stressed and anxious at times. And so I keep saying I need to do this, but I would just do it so intermittently, I would never notice a difference. So you've inspired me. I actually have been taking some of your product, but I forget. I need to put it out where it's very visible, but I've never taken it more than once a day. And I probably only had a half to maybe 1 dropper. So maybe 25 milligrams max.
Yeah.
And so I think I need to get into routine. So if someone, maybe you're not going through this traumatic experience like you did, but just wants to work, have it help with anxiety or stress. And I feel like, especially with the pandemic, there's been even more of that.
Oh yeah.
You definitely need to take it daily is what you're saying. And maybe even multiple times a day in small dosages.
Yeah. So, I mean, it does build up in the system. It only lasts, the apparent effects really only last a few hours, maybe 4 to 6 hours.
Okay.
So it does make sense to continue taking it throughout the day. And then, yeah, if you're taking it daily, it will build up and those effects will compound over time. I also want to say that we have found that most of our customers find, and I would love data on this at some point in the near future, but most of our customers find that their sweet spot is between the 50 to 100 milligram range, 2 to 3 times.
Okay.
And then a lot of people also take less in the morning and then take more at night. There's an innate daily tolerance, so to speak, that gets reset when you go to sleep. Right now I'll take maybe 100 milligrams in the morning and then I'll take 200 milligrams at night. A year or two ago, I was taking, 200-300 in the morning and then upwards of 600-700 at night. So
would this be considered a depressant?
No, it wouldn't be considered a depressant. I don't think I don't think you could label it as a depressant or a stimulant.
Okay.
Affects the endogenous cannabinoid system. Yeah, it doesn't. It could, if it relaxes you, that could be considered a depressant. But no, I don't think it's classified as a depressant.
As a depressant. Okay, I was just curious. So, can you share with us like a story, maybe from one of your customers, of how CBD has helped change their life? Do you have a story about?
Sure, I have one quick story. We just did a little survey, and we had a customer say that her mother decorates cakes for a living, and her hands get really sore. She has really bad arthritis, and within like a few days of using ourselves, she was fully functional again. Her hands were just fine, and she was able to work considerably better. And these are stories that we hear all of the time, which is the most rewarding aspect of being in this business. But and then there's stories about people who quit drinking or lovely habits or addictions. There's people who have been able to do job interviews that they never would have thought they would have been able to do before. And I think that this also it kind of ties back into this like idea of getting in tune with yourself and getting confident. And if you have something that allows you to take a step back and kind of see where your thoughts are going and see what you're creating for yourself, it gives you that boost of confidence. It takes away that anxiety a little bit that's associated with doing new things or dehypnotizing yourself.
It sounds like it helps you get out of your head.
Yeah.
And your mind and all the thoughts and the external noise, and really get in tune with your body and what you want, what's going to like truly bring you joy and ground you, kind of getting back to your initial thought about going back to nature. Yeah.
So I also found that for me, I meditate for an hour or two every day. This is something that it saved me throughout my troubles, and it I would say it continues to save me constantly. CBD really, it's helped me with that. It's not only helped me become a better meditator or be able to go in depth more, but it helps me with the confidence, and then it also helps me get into that groove even without CBD. So if I don't have CBD around, like I've trained myself, I've hypnotized myself, or however you want to phrase it, to be able to go into these long periods of meditation, and that's largely thanks to the help of CBD, and that it's something that's lasting outside of taking CBD. So like these benefits substances are tools, and the goal should be to learn to bring that knowledge into your life, into your daily activities without those substances. And I think CBD is one of the prime examples for that, where maybe not for people that have extremely overactive anxiety and stuff like that, but I think most of our customers, if we ask them, like if you were to stop taking CBD, do you think that you've progressed in the sense where like you would be better functioning than you were before prior to starting this regimen? I think most of them would say, yeah, probably. And I for sure would say that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you mentioned the baker with her hands and having arthritis. So was she using the cells then? I maybe I missed that. Because I was just chatting with a client who has arthritis in her knees, and like I hadn't even thought about that. So
yeah, it does really help. I also want to mention that we pack a lot in ourselves, in our products. We have, we're able to be so affordable since we do it all in house, that we're also able to test these higher aspects of dosing, this dosing spectrum. I think that most of the salves that you see out there, I've seen 1 ounce tins with 50 milligrams of CBD in them, and people say it works really well for them, and some people are like, yeah, no, that doesn't do anything for me. So we put 2 grams in our 2 ounce tin, 2,000 milligrams, and we found that most CBD products are notoriously underdosed, and that's maybe one of the reasons why many people have said that CBD just doesn't work for them, because they actually haven't been trying the higher doses. And it's tough when it costs $100 for something that you'll get 20, 30 small doses on. You're not going to want to take 3 or 4 of them to see if it works.
Well, I love the salve. I mean, I'm almost out actually, so I need to buy more, but I absolutely love it.
And so, Christian, where can people find you? I know you're in Minnesota, but you can order online. And so people all over listening, wherever you are, can you share how people can buy your products, and then also share your special offer you have for our listeners?
Yes, absolutely. So you can find us online at www.mnnicebotanicals.com, minnesotanice.botanicals.com. We are in, and you can order anything on there. And Stephanie and Marnie have been so kind we've all worked together to offer you a discount code for 10% off. And the code is the Art of Living Well. So if at checkout you want to, if you're interested in buying our products, you can get 10% off through checkout. Just type in the Art of Living Well. We're working on getting into stores locally. We've been largely focused on the internet aspect of it the past 6 months, but now that we're getting this marketing team together and working on a distribution network, we're going to be starting to get into stores here. We are in my mom's knitting shop, Three Kittens Needle Arts. I don't know if any of your listeners have heard of that. It's in Mendota Heights, but she sells our salve, and it sells extremely well for her, and her customers absolutely love it. And then we're in various dispensaries and shops around the country right now, just that we've gotten from our online presence. But soon here, we're going to be focusing on getting into all the stores here in Minnesota too. So that's another thing that I would like to say is if you know anywhere that would be interested in carrying affordable CBD products, and again, we literally are priced half, if not a third, of everywhere else in the world right now. I haven't seen anybody else that comes anywhere close to our prices, and that's all because we're so small and we do it all in house. But yeah, if anybody that listens knows of any stores that would benefit from carrying our products, or maybe they carry CBD products that are just too expensive, please get in contact with us via our support email on our website, and we will reach out personally to those stores and get on their shelves. Because we would love the help right now too. It's just the two of us, and having our loyal customers being our sales reps is such a benefit. And I think that with a personable business attitude like this, we can all work together to help more people out, to make this wonderful medicine more accessible to more individuals.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that. And I'm excited to buy some more products myself. And Christian, as we wrap up, one thing we like to ask all of our guests is, what does the Art of Living Well mean to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that we've been hitting on home with that this whole topic. I think it's very subjective. I think that everybody has their own method, and we're all discovering these methods as we go. I don't think that myself right now is that what works for me, what allows me to live well. I think that myself in a few years is going to have a much broader, more defined viewpoint on that. So I think that, there's various things that we can do that are universal, eating right, meditating, working out, taking care of our body. And then there's the variables that are very individualized. And I think CBD, is one of those things we could all benefit from.
Well, I love that. Thank you. I think everything you shared is super relevant to our audience. And I'm excited for everyone out there to try your products. I'm excited for myself. This is motivating me to get onto a regular routine and report back and let you know how I feel. Because I could use a little bit of that grounding myself.
I think we all could right now, especially.
Yeah.
Well, I seriously appreciate you both. And I really appreciate all of your listeners. And I'm just so happy and thrilled to be here. And I hope that this isn't the end of this conversation.
Absolutely.
No, absolutely not. Have a great day, Christian.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much for listening to the Art of Living Well podcast. We are so grateful that you joined us today.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend or anyone else you think may benefit from this information. We'd love for you to subscribe to our podcast, leave us a review, and tag the Art of Living Well podcast on social media.
If you want more inspiration in between episodes, you can find us on social media at theartofliving_well on Instagram and Facebook, where we will share snippets from our daily lives and our journey to living well.